Hi there, Bill Hitchcock with Hitchcock Television. I'm back in like a day. Posted a little video about the North Carolina Southern Flounder Fishery Management Plan Amendment 3, and within 24 hours there's over 2,000 views, lots of comments, lots of things that I need to follow up on and with, and so that's what we're doing today. This is part two of the Flounder Fishery Management Plan Amendment 3. Let's get started. Now, by the way, I want you to go to the North Carolina Division of Marine Fisheries website and get this Fisheries Management Plan Amendment 3. It's 176 pages long, but every one of your questions will be answered if you read that. And I beg you, stop listening to what you hear in meetings. Stop listening to what you hear from conservation organizations. Go directly to the source. I encourage you, I deplore you, I implore you, not deplore you, it's one of those plores. Get this, read this, your information is there. Now, one of the things I want to bring up, we were talking about yesterday that the commercial, kind of lopsided there, the commercial sector gets 70% of the allocated flounder, southern flounder catches, while the recreational community only gets 30%. And people are raising a stink about that. Well, guess what? In next year, 2025, that shifts. It becomes 60% commercial and 40% recreational. And the next year after that, in 2026, it's 50-50. So if you're disturbed about how the quota allotment has gone, just hang on. You can't fish in 2024. The recreational flounder fishery, it's closed, is no more. Next year, it's going to be 60-40. In 2026, it will be 50-50. So that argument is gone. One of the things that I want to go over is comments. There's been several comments posted on the YouTube channel where I posted the original video that I want to address. Here we go. Let's start off with this one. Where did they get the numbers from the recreational fishermen? There is no harvest reporting. What I believe is that they are using a mathematical formula using total truffle licenses for the year and coming up with an absurd number that is no more accurate than the weather forecast in eastern North Carolina. Well, you're correct. The weather forecast in eastern North Carolina, no, you kind of have to be there and see what happens, and that's the weather. They did not pull out of thin air, and we're going to go over that. Another person stated, I literally think you just made this for clicks. You kind of forgot to mention the amount commercial takes versus rec. Also the amount of commercial that goes unreported. The mysterious black beastie once again. And not to mention the amount that shrimp trawlers take as discard that is never reported either. Do some better research next time, or just don't post. Well, the research came directly from right here. Everything I said in the first video came from there, and when I was talking about the demographics of who fishes, remember 93% of the people that come to the coast of North Carolina don't fish, but guess what they do? They eat. Eating seafood is more popular than fishing for it. Are you catching on yet? So, the trawl, it tickles me. We're going to get into that. You blame the shrimp trawls. Guess who ain't catching them? They have observers too, by the way, and they have a thing called trip tickets, which we're going to get into that. And somebody else writes, and the shrimp trawl thing came up a couple of times. Misinformed people. Again, if you're going to those conservation meetings or fishing club meetings in Winston-Salem and Charlotte, you're going to hear garbage. Go to the facts, okay? Now this one, how do you have a limit on one fish limit and claim that the rec guys caught too many? This is 100% BS. Meanwhile, the lower Chesapeake Bay has the strongest population since the early 90s. Ain't no way in hell one fish limit has kept too many fish. I encourage you to go to the Maryland and the Virginia websites. You'll get the real information there as well. I'm North Carolina, I'm not Virginia, I'm not Maryland, so let's just talk about what we have here in hand, the facts. We're going to start off with the recreational fishermen. Come back here, you. Oh, be bumped. The recreational fishermen. How do they get the information? We don't have a trip ticket program like we do for the commercial fishermen, which, believe me, you don't want to have that happen. And my little computer thing is just making all sorts of sounds. The Marine Recreational Information Program is a national program administered through NOAA Fisheries and uses several surveys to obtain catch and effort data at a regional level. The Access Point Angler Intercept Survey provides the catch rates and species composition from anglers fishing in estuarine or marine waters. Anglers who have completed a fishing trip, you got to go out, they got people there, you get intercepted and interviewed and asked about your catch, demographic data, including fishing mode, charter boat, private boat, beach bank, whatever. So they got people on site that survey. I'll be quite honest with you. I'm 65 years old. I've been surveyed a total of once. But your alternative is the trip ticket program. We're going to get into that. You're not going to like that. North Carolina represents the second largest proportion of recreationally harvested southern flounder in the U.S. South Atlantic using hook and line. North Carolina recreational hook and line fishery, flounder species have been the most often reported targeted species of the 20 of the past 37 years. We like to go after flounder. We do so a second behind, I think it's Florida. Now take a look at this, recreational fishermen. If you're wondering why your landings have gone down, look at this graph. You can see that, look at that little blue line right there in the middle. The arrow that's going up says 14-inch size limit in all waters. That was instituted in 2002. Before that, flounders only had to be 13 inches, and I remember before that they could be 12 inches. But let's move forward to 2012 and take a look at this, that the size limit now becomes 15 inches. And look at the graph. What happens to the landings? They go 12 inches, 13 inches, 14 inches, 15 inches down. In fact, let's get even more information here. Gig fishery, by the way, in the recreational community, 11% of all the landings in the recreational community, it's 11%. And an interesting sidebar stat that 87% of all gigging with recreational fishermen occurs from Carteret County down south. That's a large number. Why? I guess the flounder are here. Hey. All right, listen to this. The increased size limit to 15 inches in 2011 resulted in a ratio of 9 discarded fish for every 1 fish harvested in North Carolina. This is on page 36, by the way, of the Fisheries Management Plan. The stock assessment assumes a post-release mortality for hook and line release southern flounder at 9%. So, in contrast, by the way, if you want, well, Florida's catching all them flounders and did, well, up until what year was it? It's kind of silly. 2021 in Florida, the limit was 12 inches. So we just showed you with the graph that when we went from 12, 13 inches all the way to 15 inches, that the catches went boom. Well, they just changed that. So one of the reasons why Florida had those big catches is because their big catches involved small fish. We don't do that here. Let's see, the economic impacts associated with recreational southern flounder fishing in North Carolina is page 39, by the way, in the plan. You can see that from year 2008, that total flounder trips by the recreational fishermen was 2.7 million. Zip forward to 2017, you will see that the total is 1.25 million. So the trips have gone down for recreational southern flounder fishing. Matter of fact, it's less than half of what it used to be, and the size limit is bigger. Maybe there's a correlation there. I'm not gonna go flounder fishing if it's 15 inches. I'm gonna keep 1, and I only get 2 weeks a year to go. Dee-dee-dee. That's why your catches are going down. Now, or landings, excuse me. It's very frustrating. I was out at Fort Macon a couple of weeks ago. Flounder after flounder after flounder. Throw back, throw back, throw back. And I wasn't flounder fishing. This is off of what I call, it's a 2-hook bottom rig with shrimp kind of fishing. Now, commercial fishermen. Historically, North Carolina has accounted for approximately 99% of annual southern flounder commercial landings from the U.S. Atlantic coast since 1978. But look at this graph. Look at this graph. It goes from 1950 all the way to 2016. You will see in the mid-90s was the peak for the commercial fishermen and has gone down ever since. So it has affected commercial fishermen as well. How do they count the landings and the fish in the commercial fishing sector? There's many ways. This is off of page 21 of the FMP, the Fishery Management Plan. Data used to describe the commercial fisheries for southern flounder comes from 4 sources: the National Marine Fisheries Service, the Atlantic Coast Cooperative Statistics Program, the North Carolina Trip Ticket Program, and the North Carolina Fishery Dependent Sampling Program. Now, the Trip Ticket Program was implemented in 1994. It accurately monitors commercial landings and fishing effort. What it is when a commercial fisherman goes to the dock to sell his fish, everything is accounted for and reported. Everything. They also have observers on their boats as well. Not all the time, but sometimes. What I was alluding to earlier is recreational fishermen. If you don't like the surveys, well, you're going to be counted. Would you like a trip ticket program of your very own where you have to take your landings to, say, a bait and tackle shop, fill out all the information, tell where you were, how you caught it, show all your fish? Or you can do a survey. Fishermen never lie. Anyway, let's look at the harvest. 2008, 2.6 million. To 2017, almost 1.4 million. All of the landings have come on down. As we keep on going. Now, shrimp trawl people. We gotta end them shrimp trawls because they're doing stuff. What catches southern flounder? Look on page 23 of the FMP. Gill net is number 1 at 68%. Pound net is number 2 at 26%. Hopefully you know the difference between a gill net and a pound net. A pound net doesn't gill. It's just a big square, basically, that holds them. It's a holding pen. It's like a corral, and they'll just swim around la 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 until they're gotten and or kept or released. Gill net does what you think it does. It gills them. Gigs is at 3%, and the other stuff is minuscule, 2% and less. This is where it gets very interesting. Let's take a look at the trips commercial fishermen took for southern flounder. In 2008, there was almost 29,000 trips. In 2017, there's almost 18,000 trips. So the fishing pressure in the commercial side has lightened up. Now let's get to those those shrimp trawls that everybody's blaming when they're not even part of the 2%. Look at this graph. You can see total bycatch landings. Trawls is that orangey thing, and pots, crab pots, is that bluish thing. So, but here's the kicker. In North Carolina, discard data from North Carolina Shrimp Trawl Observer Program. They found that discards from the shrimp trawl fishery were found to contribute minimally to the overall catch and were not found to bias the results in 2019. It's not the shrimp trawls. You're blaming something. Why are you blaming shrimp trawls? I know that's the big black beast that certain conservation organizations have been trying to get out of the waters for decades. Matter of fact, just a few years back, they almost got all of the shrimp trawls out of the inside waters offshore. Guess where the shrimp are? Boy, oh boy. We'll skip that. I want to go on into the conclusions here. Very good. On the dead discard, in 2017, a total removal for all sectors, including dead discards, was little under 2 million pounds. The commercial fishery was responsible for 72.2% of that, with 0.9% dead discards, and the recreational fishery accounted for 27.9% with 2% dead discard. Look at that graph. By the way, this is on page 61 of the Fisheries Management Plan. you can see that commercial landings, yeah, this is a big piece of the pie. Recreational landings is a quarter piece of the pie. But look at the dead discards. Recreational, 2%. Commercial, less than 1%. Recreational, your dead discards is twice as many as the commercial, while the commercial landings are 3 times your effort. So you tell me who's got a more efficient method. Now, summary. This is page 40 of the FMP. North Carolina has a combined value of over $600 million when it comes to the southern flounder. That's both commercial and recreational. The recreational sector has seen an increase in both effort and harvest, and a major increase in releases since 1994, with trips remaining relatively steady from 1.3 million trips in 94 to 1.25 million trips in 2017, and harvest increasing from 300,000 pounds in 94 to 400,000 pounds in 2017. Increase has been on the rec side. Now, let's just go back. Don't get excited. Don't get excited. Let's just go back. What has decreased your catch? Size limits. When we were at 12 inches and 13 inches, it was here. Then it went down to 14 inches, and now it's down to 15 inches. So your catch, you can only keep 1 out of 10. 1 out of 10. So there's your enemy. If you would like more information, please go to the division website. That's where the fisheries management plan is, 176 pages. Please read it. Please look at the graphs. If you don't understand something, call the division up. Find out what exactly that's talking about. Stop getting second and third hand information and stop hating. Please. This is not a commercial recreational fisherman issue. It never has been. Remember, 93% of the people that come to the coast of North Carolina don't fish, but all of them eat. So when you have reduction in commercial fishing catches, you're going to have a reduction on what's on your table, whether it's at a restaurant, whether it's home, or what have you. So please do not make this a commercial and recreational fisherman issue. It's a management issue. If you don't like what's going on, go to management. I'm Bill Hitchcock with Hitchcock Television. Comment, please do. I want to hear what you have to say.